but totally new. Just will breathe some new energy into that neighborhood just north of Wisconsin Avenue. Our hope is that this kinds of investments into those neighborhoods and those kinds of events will start to see a transformation along Wisconsin Avenue. There's so much potential along Wisconsin Avenue for those businesses. I want to see a place where the neighborhood can walk and get a cup of coffee on Wisconsin Avenue. I think that'll be the start. Okay? Maybe a wine bar, but that drunken city thing, I just got to be careful about that. Okay, so we're not only investing in Bird Park, we're investing in other parks. You may have seen in the Post-Crescent, they happen to pick up on that in our budget, but we're making significant investments in our parks. We've got a wonderful park system, and I think one of the signs of a healthy community is participation in recreation programs, and we are seeing participation in our rec programs absolutely explode. We've kind of looked at them, redesigned them in response to the demand coming out of the community. The direction for our recreation department is we're not in business to compete with what the private sector is doing. We're in business to find where the gaps are, where the demand is, and try to fill that demand. And at some point along the time, the private sector might pick up on that, in which case we need to be flexible and kind of change. Keep our eyes and our ears open. But we have to see participation in rec programs go through the roof. I think that's a sign of a healthy community in a number of different ways, is that engagement and that participation. If you've ever driven by City Park on a Wednesday evening around 6 o'clock, it is a sight to behold. There are about, usually in the neighborhood of 200 to 300 people in City Park doing yoga. And it is such a cool sight to see that happening. And people are riding their bikes, they're walking, they got their yoga mats on their back. And it's just, it's a really cool sight. But we're making some investments in Memorial Park, Bird Park, Highland Park on the north side. Finally has tennis courts and basketball court. So a significant investment. I think that's part of that, trying to achieve that vision and fulfilling our mission. Some things that are going to affect the north side. I'm surprised Dave didn't touch on it, but next year's the year, 00 in Richmond. Okay, those of you in that neighborhood, are you ready? It's going to be an absolute mess. But when it's done, it is going to be so much better. 00 in Richmond is being replaced with a roundabout. 00 in Richmond is the worst intersection in the county in terms of injury accidents, averaging almost one a week. It's just terrible. And so to replace that with a roundabout that makes people slow down, yeah, it's not that roundabouts don't have accidents, but they are so less severe. And once people learn to navigate them, you gotta be honest, it really does help keep traffic flowing and just a much safer situation. I think we saw that with the bridge, College Avenue Bridge. And we're seeing it over by Richmond School, where there was a lot of angst about putting a roundabout in close to the school. Guess what? It's working really, really well. So, but that's it's going to have an impact on a lot of businesses out there. So I hope, as an organization, you're working with those businesses. There's a lot of information to help those businesses inform their customers about what's coming, about alternative routes in and out during the construction. It's going to last most of next summer, but when it's done, it's going to be nice. I want to say a word about just finances in the face of all these investments that we're making. Appleton remains financially extremely stable, and our fund balances are healthy. We've got a healthy reserve. We have contingency funds that I think, not that it's really innate, but I know that a lot of cities have as healthy contingency funds that we've set aside for unforeseen circumstances, and those remain very healthy. But one of the things I want to talk about is utilities. You know, we've had our history in Appleton with water and sewer issues, stormwater issues. But I want to say this, all three of those utilities are in a very, very good place. We have made improvements and investments over the years, and we are at a point now where I can stand in front of you and say we have no rate increases anticipated in probably the next 4 years, at least 4 or 5 years. It's awesome. And in terms of competitiveness, it puts us at a real advantage because our facilities are up to date. And right now, when you combine sewer and water, we're the second lowest in the valley, behind Grand Chute, because they buy their water from us. And if you throw stormwater in, yeah, we have some stormwater rates that are probably a little more aggressive, but when you throw that in, we are still below average. When you factor in stormwater, we're still below average in the valley. So I think that's a good thing because on top of that, you can say all of our facilities are running very well and are up to date. They meet all the standards, all the regulations, and we're not looking at huge capital projects in the future. As far as the north side goes, new water tower up on just off of 00 in Glendale. It's going to improve pressure and stabilize pressure in a large portion of the north part of the city. I could go on and on, but let me just say a couple other things. Downtown, we spend a lot of time thinking about downtown. Downtown's important. It's important whether your business is downtown or whether it's not downtown. Downtown actually projects the image of Appleton. People looking here, wanting to come here, locate here, they're going to look at your downtown. If your downtown is healthy and vibrant, it's going to be more inviting. If your downtown is dead and dying, it's going to project that image of, I'm not sure. Think about it. Think about other cities and your impression of those other cities. Downtown is healthy. It's vibrant. We've gone through a number of years of looking at a number of different aspects, and I know I've talked about this in the past. We've done our parking study. We are in the process of implementing those changes. We just changed our ramps back to pay-as-you-exit, but with that, we've modernized them because a lot of people have been asking. I want to be able to use my debit card, my credit card. I want to be able to not have to have cash either when I go in or exit. That's been updated. Next year, we're going to update all of our parking meters to be able to accept cashless forms of payment. And you'll be able to plug your meter remotely with an app. People are asking about that, to be able to do that and not have to worry about getting a ticket. I don't know how much we projected our fine revenue to go down, but we'll see. But anyway, modernizing the parking system, number one. Mobility, we just did a mobility study and the council accepted those recommendations. One of the things we wanted to look at is the ease of getting in and out of downtown and through downtown, not just with a car, but as a pedestrian, as a bicycle rider, as a transit rider. We want to look at the whole mobility aspect of downtown and how that works. Two things that rose to the top when we asked people, what are your main concerns about downtown and mobility getting in and out of downtown? Number one, going from south to north, getting through downtown was a mess. You came over the bridge, you had to make that sweeping right-hand turn, then you go past the Y, you got a couple, 2, 3 lights in a row, and then once you get north of College Avenue, it's like, where do I go? How do I continue to go north? It's real confusing if you're not from here. And the other area that I'm concerned is that area around the YMCA. The recommendation is that when you're coming north on the Oneida Street Bridge, you're going to be able to go straight through. We're going to turn that back into two-way. And you're going to go through that sweeping curve. Right-hand curve is going to go away. Which then, by the way, makes that bluff site much more desirable for development. So, and it will make getting to the exhibition center a lot easier if you're coming north. You'll be able to make a left-hand turn at Lawrence Street, which can be very difficult. You can't do that now. So, parking, mobility, we are updating our downtown plan, comprehensive plan. So the last thing I'll talk about is the exhibition center. We're extremely excited. It doesn't happen unless 9 of the municipalities all agree on the same thing. I think everyone's really excited about the design, to be able to take advantage of that bluff site, to build that exhibition center into the ground and take advantage of Jones Park. It's given the city the impetus. I've got $1.5 million in next year's budget to redo Jones Park, to make that an amenity to the exhibition center. In the end, when we do this right, what it's going to do is it's going to put us that notch above our competition in terms of where people want to come and have their trade shows and their meetings. Downtown Appleton is going to be, they're going to want to come back. It's going to be a unique experience. We've got great people living here. We're in the middle of downtown. We're going to get out and walk, visit all sorts of other amenities, and they're going to want to come back. That's the goal. Come back, spend your money here, spend your money in Grand Chute, spend your money in Sherwood and Kakana.